The following program is intended for mature audiences.
I have no fancy intros anymore for my show. For the few of you who listen, you know how it goes and you know how it is. It's the McGee Uncensored Podcast. I was trying to come up with how to lead off with this particular episode so that it flows the way I want it to. So there it goes. A couple months ago, I was contacted by OVR. OVR is an agency going to provide a basic, quick background of what OVR is. OVR is an Office for Vocational Rehab. It helps. There's a disability service. They provide assistance for people with all disabilities, mental, physical. I fall under the physical kind. To give a quick background of me, I have a condition called Charcot-Marie Tooth, diagnosed in summer of 1996. I may do a podcast episode about my condition. I haven't decided yet. This episode will be dealing with my recent interactions with OVR. Now, throughout the years, I've been in and out of contact with them, and basically what they try to do is help you try to job placement. And sometimes I take them up on their service, and sometimes I don't. A couple months ago, I was contacted by, I don't know what number agent this was, working for them. Might have been the third, fourth, fifth, sixth. I lost count over the years of people who had my case, the caseworker. And so I took up the opportunity to go meet with this individual. She was a nice caseworker. Because at this point, I am trying to find full-time employment, something that fits within my specifications, my skill set, my degrees that I earned throughout the years. I will say that the meetings went well. Well, I won't say until, but had a job coach come to a meeting. The one pain in the butt thing that I had to do was drive all the way out to Youngwood, PA. I haven't been out there in years. I did go to community college here, but I didn't have my license yet. And, this is winter, towards the end of winter. So I was like, Luckily the weather was cooperative in my drive on 70, which can be a real pain in the ass. Now I understand the process of OVR and the position they have and what they do, what they offer, and I know that they're not just going to place me into a job. They try to direct me into an area that seems fitting. There was a job fair that was upcoming at that time, and I went to the website, and most of it was manual labor, and due to my condition, I just can't sustain being on my feet for a prolonged period of time. My legs have atrophied over the 21 years of having my condition, and with my back, And I will say that if I could, I would. I would go into some labor. I can't lift heavy objects, and my equilibrium is off balance. I guess I'm going to talk about my condition for a little bit here. I don't know. Just some basics. So the one meeting took place with a job coach. Getting back to that, and I provided a resume, short resume, and a cover letter, and also notes on my health, my condition, and I could right off the not long into the conversation with the job coach, who was a separate from the caseworker, I can tell that they read nothing of my resume or my cover letter, or to say they were naive would be a fair statement, because one of the jobs the job coach brought up to me was Walmart. Well, before that, before that, she had basically said that, there's no jobs in the fields that I was looking for, and I understand that. I know that, radio jobs are a dime a dozen. I know that they don't exist around every street corner. But if I was able to work, and I said that, if I was able to work in a radio station and work on a show, or provide content, deliver content, I would be happy with that. I necessarily needed to be on air. And I love when, I understand to try and be realistic. I get that. I am realistic. And I told him, and I said, I'm very jaded, I'm very pessimistic, I'm very bitter, very cynical. I came out and said it because I don't care anymore. As I'm sitting there, I'm realizing that I guess I wasted my time up until the point when she suggested Walmart, and I had an explosion in my brain. Like, you ever see those, like when the A-ball in the mushroom cloud, it went off, because clearly she did not look at my file at all. And I get that Walmart is hiring. I understand that, but I told her, I said, I can't lift, I can't stand, I can't do that in the hours that they perform their task. It's not going to happen. And then she dares ask me, well, how long can you stand? I'm sorry, when did you go from job coach to doctor? Another pointless, providedless session, professional. I could see that this job coach just wanted me to get some kind of job. I wonder if they get some kind of incentive when they place people into a job. I know the area in which I live does not provide much. I know it's a lot of still manual labor, because not a lot of people went and got their education to no fault of their own. But I ended my services with OVR, and shortly after that, and I said I could go on my own and look for a job, and I've searched. I know what type of environment I'm looking for as far as work. Nothing against anyone who works at Walmart, but I don't see a lot of college educated individuals there. I know some people personally. So it would be a waste of my education for me to just go and stock shelves. And I know that's a very bland, generic, broad depiction of work that people at Walmart do. It is not me talking down on that at all. I mean, these people are working, so good for them. But I'm not busting my ass off for minimum wage. No way in hell. I mean, it's a good job to help you if you're in college and you're working, summer, weekends. I'm not knocking that. People have done it. I know people have done that. That's fine. But a living wage for me off that isn't happening. She also somewhat insulted my resume, and I guess I didn't properly format it the way, I guess I had it in reverse order. I don't know. I don't care. I just printed one out quick to provide, to show what I have done in my life up to this point. After my brief interaction with everyone and on my ride home, I knew that I wouldn't continue seeking the services of any office. Personally, I felt that I would just be wasting my time, because I don't think that they would have helped me find employment to my liking. I think they would have found employment to their liking. Something, like I said, with minimum wage. And I came out and I said, I want something that provides good benefits and a good working salary, not 9 something an hour, 10 something an hour. My benefits cannot be messed with, plain and simple, what I'm receiving now. And I remember throughout the years working with OVR, what they suggested was, well, take a civil service test. That's what some of them just said. And that was all they really provided. Or just, are you going to the website? Are you checking things out? I check out a lot of things on certain websites that are provided to me by them. And there's nothing there. Sorry. There just wasn't. I hope I'm not coming off as if there's some arrogance to me. But I'm just not going to settle for any type of job. I don't, without sounding cliched, I just know in my gut that I'm, oh God, I won't say destined, but I know that I can do a lot more than just some minimal application job, something more than Walmart, something more than, fast food, something more than that. And that's fair. And I'm not knocking anybody. I just know that that's just not to my capabilities. I think it would lessen me. The funny thing is, the caseworker from OVR, weeks later after I'd met, said, the deadline, what do you want to do? You want to continue? And I said, I thank you for all the help up to this point, but I appreciate it, but I'm going to forge on my own and find something. And then it took weeks later for a reply from the caseworker. So I said, yeah, I'm obviously not a priority, so I couldn't care less. And they needed my pay stubs. I said, I'm not working. I don't know what you're talking about. I do announce, but I don't get pay stub. It's just a check at the end of the seasons. So, I said, I don't have that. I was just wanting the case, just close my case. I didn't benefit from it. It wasn't as if I didn't put any time into it. It just, when I'm being dealt the same hand every time, then, I might as well go see a therapist. That's why I felt like I'll just go talk to people about my unemployment issues. So, I don't know. I'm still out there, applying for a job. So, searching for jobs. And I'm going to talk about something that I applied for not too long ago. But not right now. It's going to be in a separate recording, because pretty much the same old thing happens every time I apply it to my alma mater, university. Anyway, until next time.